Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Chats with Maritz. I'm your host, Maritz Almada, and I am joined today by my good friend, Karla Estrada. She is an entrepreneur in Austin, Texas. She currently has two businesses, and we talk about a little bit of everything. We talk about growing up in Ciudad Juarez / El Paso, how being raised in a border city impacts everything going forward, her career in education, some dating experiences, some hot takes. I don't know if my hot take tracker is accurate, but there might have been around 5 hot takes. Well, and what else? We talked a little bit of everything. She baked me some homemade gancitos, which were delicious and the best thing I've eaten in a minute. And overall, such a fun experience. So I won't take up too much of your time. Go listen to her now. Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Karla Estrada.
Hi, Maritz.
Welcome to Chats with Maritz. The official recording release or
Round
whatever.
2,
Round number
baby.
2. Which I will say, I'm very grateful that you came over the first time to do a little tester, and then now this second time to do an actual recording.
Happy to be here. Always. This is,
Yeah.
I'm excited to capture our silliness on camera again.
I know.
And hopefully the world will see it this time around, pero ahí veremos.
Yeah, we'll see. I've been figuring out all the wrong ways that I can mess it up.
Yeah. You gotta fail before you succeed.
I know.
Though,
I'm
so
like
you're
all
on your
the
way.
technical aspects, so hopefully each time is better.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to get started on how we know each other
Okay.
and what our relationship to each other is.
Yes. Pues I say that we're primas falsas because we're not really cousins, but we kind of we grew up together. Our parents were friends when we were growing up. And I love that growing up we éramos esas primas de que we would play together and then we would go off and do our own thing,
Yeah.
así, and when we would see each other. But we saw each other a lot. Our friends were very social. I mean, our parents were very social, so we saw each other all the time. And then, as life goes on, we lost touch. And then over the last few years, I don't remember who reached out to who that you were moving to Austin.
I have no idea.
I don't remember what happened there.
But we suddenly
rekindled and then have built a really nice friendship out of it. That's really nice. And then it's funny, when I show up to social things at the beginning, right? And then they'd be like, oh, who are you? And I'd be like, es mi prima. And then your primas would be like, no, es mi prima.
Yeah. We're like, from the other side? I don't think so. Who are you?
And then we'd have to go down the whole non-family tree to explain it.
I feel like growing up, I had so many cousins, tios.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until one of my friends was like, oh, are they from your mom's side or your dad's side? And I'm like, neither? Both? I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, which of them is your sibling? And they're like, no, they're just friends.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about Mexican culture. I think all the cultures, obviously,
Yes.
but and just growing up, and that was a big group of friends that we and the kids that
it
we
was
grew
something
up
like
around.
8 or 9 families, and then everybody had I think the least were Arleta's a single case, right? But
Yeah.
Everyone else had, I think,
was
at
3.
minimum 3 kids.
Well,
and then there were
Faye
some
was
that
just
had
2. Yeah, but
5, 6, and it was crazy. It was so fun though.
it was such a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay, and there is a lot of things that we have in common, but 2 major ones that I was thinking about. One is we have the same middle name.
Yes.
Alexandra.
But
Well, I do say it with X. Huh?
I pronounce it differently than you.
Yeah. For me, it's Alexandra, but you do spell it with an X.
It's spelled with an
But you
X,
say
but it's
it.
pronounced Alejandra. And then my dad tried to convince me at age 23 that my middle name was Alexandra. Because I always gave my parents, I bullied them a little bit about, I have the same name as Karla, and then we share the same middle name, but you're both older than me. But then, in the same degree, my older sister's middle name is also Faye's name. And, there's a lot of shared names in that group, which is not a bad thing. But, yeah, my dad tried to convince me my name was Alexandra at age 23. And I was like, we've been saying it Alejandra my entire life. So now I explain to people like, it's Alejandra like Mexico con X. And then they just get it after that. But
see, I do like the X in it just because it makes it different.
It makes it different.
And
we're not like every typical like Ale.
Yes.
And I'm not Alex.
No. And I feel like the only person ever that gets to call me Alejandra, Ale, Alexa, it's my mom.
Yeah.
Like she'll say all variations of it, but no one else knows it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we share a middle name. We also share the fact that we are middle children.
Yeah. My gosh, my life trauma.
I feel like every middle kid's like life is just, even though we try not to, you know, have middle child syndrome, we all have it. You know, it's okay.
It's so interesting because like middle children unite. Like, truly,
I see you because no one sees us.
You know, a lot of my really close friends are also middle children.
I know.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
It's weird. And like people that I just like am naturally drawn to are also the middle child.
Yeah.
Old coworkers that like were my old teacher's assistant. She's a middle child. And like we got along very well. We have similar personalities. You and I are both middle children. My best friend Duani's a middle child. My friend Natalie's a middle child. Like people just in different areas of my life that like it just clicks.
Yeah.
It's so weird that we're both middle children.
Yeah. What makes the middle children the best sibling out of all of them?
You know what? I think we like, you know, there's something to be said about like the middle child. I'll hold it to this. Like when kids are little, like the second child up to a certain point, right? Like if there's no more children after maybe like age 3 or 4, then they are now the baby. And I think like the family dynamic switches that way. But the second child, we march to the beat of our own drum. We are the boat rockers. We are the ones who like are always questioning things. We are definitely like in the best way too. Like I think it's like inevitably too that like we get time to ourselves to figure things out too. Like as the middle child, because the older one had their one-on-one time.
And they're performing for all the adults.
Exactly.
At least in my family, that like my brother was just like the first one in a lot of spaces. That it's like,
and also like he's the only boy in your siblings too. So maybe that plays into it. But like, and then the baby's the baby. So then like up to a certain point, like you're no longer the baby, but you're not the star example anymore. And so you really have the time to like figure things out for yourself. And like, I was a little bit traviesa. Muy rebelde. I still am very rebellious.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that more, all the things. But I think that's what makes middle children special. Is like we are forced to like figure it out and like create our own way from a very young age. And we know the example that our older siblings have taken. Yeah. We want so badly to be different, but then still like achieve.
Yeah.
And just kind of figuring it out in a creative way.
So this is
really
a
cool.
pro middle children podcast.
Only middle children are allowed to listen to
no
this.
One else is
Everyone
allowed.
else, get out.
Just like entry form. Are you middle children? No, denied.
Yes, must be middle child to speak at the podcast.
All right, and we both grew in El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, which is a border town. I always call that. I feel like everyone that is from there is just one big city. It's not like, even though it's two different countries, we refer to it as one big city. How do you think that has shaped, also along with the middle childness of it all?
Yeah. Well, the middle childness specifically is like, I don't know. Interesting. It's interesting question about the middle childness, because when people ask me about like growing up on the border, and I didn't coin this term and I didn't obviously like identify this way, but I think it's a really good way to identify, is I was part of a study for people studying their master's degree when I was in college. And they studied me like through my time like in college and then into my first few years teaching. And I ended up like being credited as part of a contributor of like an academic paper and all these things. But really they focused on like my identity as being transfronteriza. And that was like so interesting, because I felt like that's something I always felt, but I never had a name for it. Yeah. And I think it's so fitting. Now adding in the middle childness of it all, I think it's interesting because like my sisters, so I'm one of 3 girls, the best one, obviously. I am the buttercup to the Powerpuff Girls.
Buttercup. Wait, which one is that in Spanish?
The green one.
The green one. Oh, you're okay.
I'm the buttercup.
I was Bubbles.
You're the
and
Bubbles.
Karla was
Buttercup.
Buttercup. Yeah.
But I feel like in personality, I'm a mix of all three. But
No,
assigned responsibilities, I was Buttercup. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of like being the middle child in that way, growing up on the border, I feel like my older sister, like she was the first to kind of experience like going to school in the US. Like we never lived in Juarez, but we were there all the time. And then my little sister was just kind of like, she just did her own damn thing. Like she is very uniquely her.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that you said performative, but like I felt like I was extremely performative. I think that's just naturally my personality too. But I think like part of being a middle child, we were just joking about this, but it's like that people pleaser aspect, and like I wanted everyone to like me.
Like you want to be different, but at the same time you want to be liked. So it's like you're still figuring out how to like merge with the world to be liked enough, but still find your own way to
and for that reason too, it was like very easy for me to like blend into different friend groups or different groups of people. And so like I had like my fresita friend group, I had like my more Americanized friend group. Al final del día, like we all had the nopal en la frente, and like we were all super Mexican with very few exceptions.
I mean, I'll counter saying that we're very white passing. I don't know that we have the nopal en la frente.
I'm saying culturally.
Culturally, yes.
Right? But like, al final, también
physically.
En El Paso, physically, like, la gran mayoría, we're all white passing. Like, it's just like, el gente del norte, like, we're all very white passing for the majority.
Yeah. It's just funny that you said, like.
But, like, culturally, like, when you start hanging around, like, American Anglo people, you're very clearly not Anglo-American, right? You're very clearly like Mexican, right? Or it's different, right? But I think I fit in well to like other groups of people, but I think that's partly my middle child syndrome, partly my personality, and then just being around that culture. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
And I agree. I think that growing up in a border town and, you know, code switching a little bit when you're like in Juarez and El Paso does go hand in hand with being the middle child and having to like navigate, you know, how to, you know, talk to an older sibling and the younger sibling and be, you know, I don't know, something to think about.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
I'm happy with your answer before, but I love it. That's really cool.
Yes. Okay. So you went to school and studied education?
Bilingual ed.
Okay. And I love that, you know, growing up in El Paso did impact that. And why did you choose that?
How much time do we have?
Spark notes. We got to get to other
notes it. Okay.
Not to cut you, you know.
No. Long story short, my whole family works in education. A lot of my like tios and tias are like administrators or like district personnel, or like my mom worked as like a secretary to principals, counselors, clerk, registrar, all those things, like growing up. So on my mom's side, it's extremely education heavy. And growing up, like they would ask me like, ¿qué quieres ser cuando seas grande? And I had three answers. Like one was mamá, like I wanted to be una mamá. Second was una payasa, and three was una maestra. Like that's what I wanted to be, for forever. So then when as I was becoming older, I was like taking very seriously, like, what do I want to do? And I volunteered a lot at like local charities and organizations. And I think it just like felt very natural to me to be
Can
like.
you point it?
This
just like
It felt like very natural to me to be like in positions of like leadership and things like that. And then like when I went to college, I really wanted to study speech language pathology. And I tried for the major. It's extremely competitive to get into at UT. I also got diagnosed as of the last 2 years with ADHD and didn't know it all that time. So imagine like how difficult it was for me to focus in a college setting in a new city by myself. My sister was here, but like truly it's like you're living by yourself for the very first time ever. And then you have this you're not diagnosed with something, which
you're just struggling and you think it's your fault.
Exactly.
You don't know why you're not able to do the things you want to do.
Exactly. And I knew like I wanted to be able to connect with people in that way, and I was interested in like the medical perspective of things as well as like the linguistics of it all. I don't think I understood it that deeply, but now I know.
Yeah.
And so when I didn't get accepted to the major, I was like, okay, well, what is something that I do feel connected to? And my family always told me like, vas a ser maestra. And I was like, maybe I'll just give it a chance. And then I found like bilingual education, because I didn't feel culturally connected to like the peers in just like the education pool. They came from very different, like very Southern, very different, very sorority.
Yeah.
And that's not me.
Yeah.
And so I chose bilingual education. And I'm glad I did. I'm really glad now that I did.
Yeah.
Because it's taken me like on a really insane career trajectory, but it's really shaped like who I am to my core, because it clicked, right? I finally got that educational click, but it's because like I got to read things that were relevant to me. I got to read things that were important to me, and I started to understand like government and politics and history a lot better as a result of that. And that's like a huge motivator in who I am in my day-to-day, and just like being authentically myself.
Yeah. No, I love that. What have you learned from kids about like how to live life and go about the world and like fail and try again? And because I know you've obviously taught them so much, but I'm pretty sure you've also learned so many different lessons from them.
For sure. I think approaching things from a lens of curiosity versus perfection or like answer seeking is so important. I think you'll naturally stumble upon answers when you approach things from a lens of curiosity. And I think I've tried to apply that like across multiple areas of my life, like relationship management, professional things, right? Just like things I do in my day-to-day. Like if I don't know something, I want to seek the answer to it. But instead of like hyper focusing on like, what's the strategy? What's the this? What's the that? Like I want to be able to stumble upon it in a way that feels authentic. And just like sometimes that involves just listening and observing. And like sometimes I think like in a classroom you have like the one really quiet little guy who like doesn't want to interact. And a lot of times like they get, especially like in Latino cultures, they get labeled as like el tontito, or like they just don't know, or something's wrong with them. Or in this world too, in education, there's a big push for like, there's a certain ratio of identified students with disabilities that you should have.
Okay.
And so when you have a student who's not actively participating all the time, they want to automatically label them with something's wrong with them. And I've learned to appreciate that time to just observe, to be in silence, to just like feel out the space. And then, you know, from there as a teacher, like I was able to work with them more one-on-one, build relationships with them so that then they could feel comfortable to come in organically. So that's one. And two, I think, is like vulnerability.
Yeah.
I've always been an incredibly vulnerable person. I'm very emotionally charged, and I didn't always feel safe to express that. And so when I was first teaching, I was like on that journey through therapy to like learn to navigate my own emotions and healing.
Yeah.
And being really open and vulnerable with my students paid off, because I could just like have really difficult conversations with them no matter the age. And I could also tell them like, today's not the best day for me. I'm not feeling well, or something happened, and like this is what would help. And like you'd be surprised to see like all the way from age 2 and 3, because I had kids coming in as early as 2, all the way to like 12, 14-year-olds. They're so responsive when you just approach it from that lens, because they just want to be useful, right? And so like that just like humanizes the experience for me. And like we should all be able to be vulnerable in every space that we're in, and there's no off limits conversation with people of any age. It's just about training and having the capacity to like build that skill of understanding.
And what is your opinion on the nature versus nurture aspect about kids?
good question. I think both play a role, absolutely. But I do think the way, especially now, and this could be a hot take, so be prepared. You're not going to like this answer, some of you, right? The way that we nurture children is so deeply important.
Yeah.
And there's such a wide spectrum of how people choose to do that still. And I think especially more now. We've gone from a transition of like our parents, right?
Yeah.
So if we're thinking in terms of a classroom, our parents are now grandparents to children who are in school.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like with the widest age gap, right?
Yeah.
Because we're in our 30s and our parents are, 20 to 30 years older than us, give or take. But there are a lot of parents who were like kids having kids, or 16 having 16-year-olds, or having babies who had babies at 16, that, right? Like that's very prevalent. So for them, a lot of times it's still like old school discipline or lack of discipline, because they never grew up to formulate their thoughts, to allow their brain to finish forming. And they were raising children out of survival and, frankly, out of immaturity. Yeah. So you literally just
didn't know a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. But that's fair to say. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. Right. You don't know what you don't know. But for them, that's their norm, right? And so for them, that's clearly what makes sense. It's like when you're in a toxic relationship and your brain is addicted to that chaos, you continue to go back to it because that's what you know. Right? And so it's the same with parenting. It's like you continue to go back to that because that's what you know. So that's one. Another is parents who are actively working against how they were raised by their parents because there's resentment there. Yeah. But then they're making critical mistakes in not having any form of discipline. Right? So then we're seeing kids who are coming into schools with either no sense of discipline or low self-esteem because they've been over-disciplined, right? Yeah. And it's very rare to find that gem of parents who are active parts of their children's lives, A. B, education. And tech has a lot to do with this too. Like there was like the huge like iPad kids, and now there's a counter movement where it's no tech households. Yeah. Right? And so I do think that reform is important, but we have to still know through that, how are we creating genuine, meaningful connections with our kids from day to day? And that can be as simple like as we're driving in the car, a kid is screaming in the back seat. And how do we approach that to navigate our own emotions to help them then regulate, right? Because all of those behaviors, like kids are mirrors, they're always watching you. And they're going to do the exact same things that you're doing, right? And so how we behave and how we act in this world is how they're learning that that is the correct way, because inevitably they're looking up to you. You're the adult in their life. So I don't remember what the question was, but that's
nature versus nurture.
Nature versus nurture. I think nurture is incredibly important, but of course, like there's still nature. You still have to respect, the things that just come with being human, things that just come with being an individual, all of those kinds of things. But nurturing, definitely,
I do think
is strong in there.
Just being with more like kids as they're like literally like out of the womb almost. I've learned way more than I thought before about how like nature is, like we already come with like certain personality traits, certain characteristics, but definitely like if you're in a safe environment and nurture the correct way, then you can actually like become that person. But a lot of times kids are not allowed to grow into like who they were already showing to be, just because a lot of different varieties of reasons.
There's something that it's like something that I see a lot, but it's that if you have a weird kid, that means you're raising them in a safe environment. Right? And that's so important. That means that you've given them that emotional safety to be vulnerable and express themselves authentically.
No, I totally agree with that. Okay. So you were in education, and then you transitioned into entrepreneurship, and you are a small business owner. Do you want to talk about how that started, the fears of it, or did you just jump in and were like, this is what I want?
Yeah, definitely a lot of fear surrounding it. I'll go back. When I was teaching, I was selling custom orders all the time.
Okay.
I was selling cakes, I was selling sugar cookies, and I had a really great pool of clients working at a campus, right? Where like parents and students would purchase from me, other teachers. And so that kind of developed over time to like, I started investing more into my health. I started joining like different dance groups and things like that. And one of those experiences was like, I want to try a cake decorating workshop and like teach the girls how to do it, because I think this is something I'm interested in doing. Did one, and then got hired in a corporate ed tech job where I was traveling 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It was really, really exhausting. I was never home.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to see friends, let alone family.
Traveling for work gets romanticized, but once you've done it, I didn't do it weekly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets tiring pretty quickly.
It's exhausting. Like it's truly exhausting. I think it is glorified. It's cool at the beginning, but then after a while, like I didn't even have a relationship with my baby, with my dog at that point, because she was always with a babysitter. Yeah. And I would pick her up, sleep with her one night, and drop her off the next morning. Like that felt so wrong to me. Like that's not a responsible pet owner at that point, right? And so I got let go after 2 years because I was loud about a lot of things. And what we can talk more about, you know, my feelings about things like that. But yeah, then I cried for a month and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And now's my chance. And my family was incredibly supportive. I know that if it was something silly, they wouldn't have been. Yeah. Because my family's very realistic, very pragmatic. But you had
already made this little side, not a little, but you know, it was a side hustle.
It was like a little side hustle. Yeah.
They know your passion for it. And so they were like, okay, there is something there. It's not just like you're changing your whole life or something that you researched 2 days ago.
Yeah. And for context, Bubbles and Buttercream, I teach cake decorating workshops, but like party style. So I go to location, whether that's like a private booking at your house or if it's a ticketed event, whatever. And I bring all the pre-baked cakes, the buttercream, so you don't have to worry about that. And then I bring all the professional tools and materials that you need. And then I teach like a full hour-long workshop.
Yeah. Which I do. Okay.
Yeah.
Want to talk about that. Yeah. So if someone wanted in Austin, because you're currently living in Austin, if someone wanted to have you over, like, is there a minimum requirement of how many people need to be there?
Yeah. I do minimums of 6 for cakes. It's a maximum of 12.
Because you gotta give everyone some time.
Yeah, and I do like it to be intimate. So I'm thinking about expanding that to 15 because I do have like the sets for that now. Okay, but we'll see. I think that's like a case by case thing. And then I've recently started doing sugar cookies for like larger groups, like sugar cookie decorating. Yeah. So I've done one for a nonprofit. Next Saturday, I'm getting ready to do one at the Mexican American Cultural Center. That's like a free workshop series, and I'm doing there all summer. So that's really fun. But yeah, they find me on Instagram, Bubbles and Buttercream, or TikTok, and
you're always posting your next events too. So
yeah, I'm always very active on there. But to go back to your other question, so I decided like, okay, this is a combination of my multiple passions. For like at that point I had already gotten a project management certification. I was actively looking for roles in learning and development. I was a teacher and I had my baking side gig, and I think it was just like a very natural way to combine all those passions to do something where I felt like I was positively contributing to the community, because I wanted to create community. That's one aspect that I missed for 2 years. Yeah, I didn't have community.
You're on your own.
So I wanted to do that and like meet people and have people meet each other. And at the same time, it just like made sense for my own personal fulfillment as well. So it was something that I thought about and put off for like 4 years. Yeah. And then I
you're like, well,
you just have to like heed the moment, right? Like you have the time.
Probably not the money, because you know now you don't have an income.
Monetarily, I exhausted my resources into like paying rent and putting into the starting of a new business. But I think it's paid off. It's well worth it. I'm on my way. There's been a lot of growth. I'm in a big moment of transition at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run, it's going to end up working out in my favor because I do think like this is something that I can do full time. It is sustainable because it's not just so much about like making something beautiful and delicious. It's truly about like the experience, the relationship building that goes along with it, the learning to be patient with yourself, the mistake making process. I always tell people like if you mess up a cake, the best thing is that you can just eat it and no one ever has to know. And like that's so true about just life. You can mess up and like no one in life is keeping tabs on you for everything that you're doing, right? Like if they are, they're micromanaging you and that's like not the space for you anyway. Yeah. Right. So
because that is something that I wanted to ask about. How do you address when someone is coming in and they're self-conscious and they don't want to touch, you know, any of the materials because, you know, the like dilemma of the empty white page or like the empty buttercream cake that I don't know, people are just so afraid of making mistakes. Like how do you address that when you are doing these events? And also you have a variety of ages. The last time I went to one of these events, there was like a kid with his grandma there, so you're, you know, talking to a big range of people and emotions. So like how do you address these type of insecurities that show up?
That's a good question. I mean, I've taught workshops for as little as 9 months old all the way up to 70-year-olds and up, right? And it's to your point, like it's such a wide range of just like life experience, but I find that like the accommodations are very similar, right? Like that's where my teaching forte comes into play because adults are just overgrown children, especially in moments of insecurity, right? So I have 2 things to say, right? I get the people who maybe are not intimidated about the activity or the blank page, but they're intimidated by what that means for their health or their health journeys. Okay. So I say eat the fucking cake. Yes. Right? And that can be applied across multiple things. One, health-wise, right? Learning to have a really healthy relationship.
Unless you have a gluten allergy or allergic to chocolate.
But
or,
then,
you know, but
that's something that I can mitigate. And I do gluten-free vegan baking. Okay. Like I myself am dairy-free and gluten-free. I have been vegan in the past. Like those are things that we can work around, right? Let me know ahead of time and I'll have that for you. Perfect. So, but then also it's like super important to have a healthy relationship with all foods, and sugar is part of that. There's natural sugars in a lot of things that we eat. Yeah. And it is okay to enjoy the experience of creating something beautiful that you get to enjoy the taste of later because it's been made with so much love, right? And that feeds back into your body. And like, it's a cake this size, you guys. Like, get over it. You can have one slice of it and share it with your family. Or if it's just you, eat the fucking cake. Like it's one little cake and portion control, freeze it, have some more a few days from now, blah, 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 whatever. Right. Yeah.
And that's one for the soul, you know, as someone that's been, you know, counting calories for the past decade. It's also, I don't know, sometimes you just need a break. And also, you know, when you're doing it for an event or just, it's good for the brain and the body and everything. And they're delicious cakes too.
Yes, and that too.
So
yeah. And I have PMOS actually. Okay. It used to be called PCOS, but now it's recently right? changed like a month ago to PMOS. And that was like a big thing for me, was learning to have healthy relationships with food, because I felt like it was like a constant like uphill battle for me, where like I was eating right, I was working out X number of days a week, like I was trying my best, doing all the things, and it just came down to hormonal imbalance, right? And I worked with dietitians and learned to have very healthy relationships with food, which like sometimes I stray from time to time, which is fine. Like we're gonna eat a gansito right now, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, so it's just part of it, right? That's part of life. So that's one. Two, I always say, guys, be like Elsa. And I sing like Let It Go. Nice. And I'm like, there's no room for perfectionism here. Like you're going to make mistakes. Yeah. I still make mistakes, and I've been decorating for 15 years. That's a long time. give yourself the grace. For a lot of people, this is your first time doing it. So like, don't be intimidated. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to walk you step by step through the process.
Yeah.
And you're going to leave with the product that you love. And like every single time without fail, whether it's the most beautiful cake or if it looks like this is what I wanted versus this is what I made, everybody leaves with something that they're really proud of. And that's the whole point of it, is to enjoy the experience and the fact that you tried something new.
And this might be out of left field, but I've been going back into making art myself recently because of the rise of AI. I don't know your opinions on AI, but I was curious in the beginning. I thought it was interesting, and then just seeing how it just steals from artists, and it all ends up doing the same. And it's also, like, in my opinion, not great art. I do a lot of things out of spite, and I found myself just being like, you know what? I'd rather have like a Crayola like filled poster that, looks like a human made it than like, or I don't know, something that a computer made and stole ideas from other people. So I think for me, like, going back into art, or just creating a horribly made piece of art, I am so proud of it, and I love seeing, like, I don't know, I've just been going back into it out of spite. I'm like, I'm gonna make shitty art just because at least it won't be, and I don't drink that much water, so I drink enough water.
I think AI is such like I think it can be beneficial if used in the right ways, but it is creating really lazy humans. And I'll take accountability for that too. Where like, I'm on the job market. I've been on the job market for many years now. And I try not to use like ChatGPT and stuff like that to like do work for me, or Claude or whatever. But I do use this thing called Enhansive. And it basically does like ATS tracking and like alignment on your resume compared to the job listing. And it's really intelligent. So like that, I use it, but I try to do it super minimally. So if like my resume is relevant enough in a space, like I will try to modify independently. And then like if I still feel stuck, like then I'll use it. But in terms of like creative things, I think it's such bullshit. Like there are so many, maybe this is just because this is the world I live in, right? But like there are so many untapped or unseen creatives in this world that like, if I need a picture edited or I want to do something fun to X picture, instead of using ChatGPT to do it for me, I'm going to send it to my friend who's a photographer and they can try their hand at it. Right. Or like, I'm lucky to where like, AI will never replace me as a baker because that's like a skill set, right? That's so precise. But robots might. There are baker robots.
Have you not seen I don't know about the baking, but like there's the whole like recipe that it tells you like, okay, these, like, put a whole chicken and then it'll cut it. It's just like a whole machine.
It's crazy.
Which honestly, I was going to say, I want machines to do that for me.
Yes, because it makes our lives easier. But I feel like, this is what I was going to say, like in terms of baking, for example, like we're not being replaced by AI, but we're being replaced by giant conglomerates and corporations who are mass producing shitty quality things. Right. And like, hot take, really hot take. I do not believe in chain bakeries or restaurants. I think that's disgusting. You guys, I'm gonna whisper this to you really gently. Can you still hear me? They freeze everything for 60 days before it hits the shelves. Ew. That's disgusting, right? Imagine the amount of preservatives that are in something like that. Even sugar is like a preservative. Salt is a preservative. Imagine how much you're putting into your body, right? That's so bad for you, only to get like a, honestly, not good tasting product, right? On the A flip side to that, you could go to a small local bakery, look on your Facebook marketplace, find me on Instagram, right? Message us with enough anticipation, and we will happily bake something fresh and high quality for you, right?
Yeah.
That's healthier for you in the long run. And you're also supporting artists at the same time, right? So I think AI has its place, but not to the volume. Like now is just like an abuse.
Yeah.
Like people need to figure things out on their own. Like struggle, be in productive struggle. It's so important. It makes you better.
I agree. Let's use our brains a little
Mic
bit.
drop. I'm getting out of here. I'm pissed off now.
All right. Going back into me psychoanalyzing you.
Yes,
I'm kidding.
please do. I love it.
Which, okay, never mind. I was going to continue about it. Yeah, I won't. Okay, what is a setback that taught you the biggest lesson? And I'll like give an example because, you know, me as a weightlifter, there's sometimes, you know, like a failed lift or competition that in the moment, obviously, you're like, this is the worst thing in the world. And then later on, you're like, wait, no, like that taught me about resilience and that taught me about, and I know you mentioned about being laid off, but I don't know if you have other examples of setbacks.
Being laid off is a big one. I think I'm unfortunately like, I always say that I'm a dreamer. I like to live in the clouds, and I spent a lot of my life like people trying to ground me.
Yeah.
Right. And I resented them for it at the end of it. So now I've like flipped it and I've said, I'm a dreamer. I need you to let me live in the clouds. Just tell me to watch out for the planes as I'm going along.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's so like critical to who I am at my core. But it's kind of a double-edged sword because I dream so big and I have very vivid like imagination, vivid dreams, like to the point where like if I were to dream and something were to happen in my dream, like I could feel it on my body.
Yeah.
Like to that level. That like when things didn't work out the way I envisioned them to, I often felt disappointment. And then I had to learn to like cope with that feeling, like to cope with that experience. And I did go through like a lot of moments of grief as a result of it. So I think like learning for me that disappointment is just part of like the human experience, and like grief is so part of the human experience has been truly valuable. I think I'm experiencing that now too, where like the last several years, the last 2 years maybe of my life have been, well, maybe the last year and a half has been incredibly filled with disappointment. It's been filled with like just trying to play the game. And it's left me feeling in a lot of ways like very unfulfilled.
Okay.
But at the same time, I've had so much joy and fulfillment and pleasure in my life through like being more authentic to myself.
Yeah.
So like through my business, through relationships that I've created as a result, like I have so many genuine and authentic, valuable friendships in my life and have done a lot of work to like have healthier relationships overall. That's where I feel like super incredibly fulfilled, and I feel incredibly fulfilled through my business and what I'm doing. And unfortunately, I'm still at a time where like I'm still at a startup stage. It's only been a year and a little bit, and I'm having to like supplement income through a 9-to-5, and so that's been the part that's like been incredibly challenging. And like I know that I'm an incredible candidate. I know that like I have quite a unique mix of skill sets that like are super valuable, but then like I'm applying to positions that like I'm either super overqualified for, so they don't hire me because they feel like I'm not going to be happy, or I may, and in both of these scenarios, I make it to final round interviews, right?
I hate that process.
Or
Like
so it's either
rounds.
like I'm overqualified or I get beat out by someone who has like maybe a year more experience than me.
Yeah.
In that industry specifically. And so for a long time, like I think I felt disappointed that like and I still say this, but like another hot take, like as a teacher, you should not study education as your major. You should have something else to back it up. And then if you still want to teach, teach. But you should have something else as like your area of expertise that you can fall back on. So I think that's kind of like where I shot myself in the foot. Do I regret the experience? No.
Yeah.
But do I wish my situation might be, I wonder, maybe it's not wish, but I wonder how different would my situation be had I majored in a different skill set.
That's interesting.
But then I don't think my life would have worked out the way that it has at this point. Like I wouldn't be who I am at this moment. So
everything impacts us into. Okay. No, that is a great answer. Which I do have a question about your thoughts on therapy, because I know going to therapy has been really beneficial for you when learning about yourself and how to, you know, address issues and problems that you're having. So I just wanted to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I started going to therapy in my sophomore year of college. I was having a really difficult time. One, being away from family. Two, I had multiple things that were undiagnosed.
Yeah.
I was severely impacted by an anxiety disorder since I was very young and didn't know it until I was 20. I was 20, 19 or 20. And so was it
the first time that you were away from home and like on your own?
So with that, like I felt like kind of my world came crashing down. It's like everything I've lived is a lie, you know? So it was kind of that. Also, like just like relationship dynamics were really heavily shifting, and I felt a weight of responsibility, honestly, from other people as well as from myself. I felt a lot of responsibility to help repair that rupture.
Yes.
And it wasn't mine to handle. And so I had like a big moment where just like, I mean, I'll just say it. I never talk about this, but like I had a lot of suicidal ideations at the time, right? And I don't even think my family knows that, to be very fully honest.
Yeah.
And I started going to therapy because my sister asked me to.
Okay.
And which is good
for her.
Right. Yeah. It caused strain in the moment, but I think it's the most valuable thing because at this point I've been in therapy on and off for like 13 years. I love going to therapy. I recently just graduated I graduated from EMDR therapy. I've been through 2 sessions of EMDR therapy.
Okay.
Like 2, I guess not sessions, but like journeys with EMDR therapy, working on different things. But I think all of that, my experience with different therapists, male therapists, female therapists, culturally aligned therapists, not culturally aligned therapists, has taught me to be, one, more true to myself, and 2, like really trust my intuition and like who I am at my core and learn to honor that versus being that middle child that falls into people pleasing. And that's just helped me to like function better as a human, as a sister, as a daughter, as a professional, you know. And I think that's, and we kind of talked about this in our recording that didn't end up working out, but like that authenticity attracts people to you, right? Yes. And so like when you're being authentically yourself, more positive things are going to come your way. So I love therapy. I really think I don't understand people who are anti-therapy, or I don't know if they think they're above it, or maybe it comes off that way but because they're intimidated by it. But I don't think there's ever.
I've met people. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think I've met people that are anti, unless it's like boomers.
I know young people. I know both, like older people, and I know young people who are very like, I will never go to therapy.
The thing I've seen people struggle, and the reason that they don't go is because it just costs so much money, and like there's not easy access to it, and sometimes, I think mainly that's been the main. But yeah.
Well, even at my financially lowest, even at my financially lowest, like I've still found a way to go to therapy. So like I think there are ways, and like people will work with you. There are resources out there. Scale. Yeah. And so just like, and it's an investment in yourself. Like, don't you want to be a more regulated self? Don't you want to be a happier self? Like, don't you want to show up better just in life? Not for other people.
Right.
Fuck other people. For yourself, though. Like, it's brought me so much peace in just, like, not being in negative headspaces or, like, always wondering what ifs or functioning out of places of anxiety. And I'm not going to say it doesn't show up sometimes. It does.
Right.
It
we're
definitely
human beings.
does.
It's not like, oh, suddenly you're regulated or everything. It's just, you know, learning.
Yeah. But it just helped me, like, give myself that space to feel my full range of emotions and be able to do it in a way that wasn't self-destructive.
Yeah.
Which, like, so many of us fall into that trap.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, I am happy that your sister was there for you to push you into therapy. And that
shout out, homie. So much.
Yeah. Okay. So you switched into being an entrepreneur around like a year ago, I think. So now looking into like the next year, that person, that Karla, looking back at you today, what kind of person and business owner do you wish, you know, looking back and you're like, okay, I was this person. These were my values. This is my morals, you know, like,
yeah.
Or this is how hard I worked. Like, what do you want you from now to be looking back and be proud of?
Yeah. Wow. I think for sure, like, as far as who I am as a person, like, I hope I'm still the same person. Like, I hope I'm still myself. I never want to, I'm not gonna say I'm a millionaire next year, but who knows? Maybe you guys can be a millionaire.
Yes.
Right?
Let's get you there.
Yes. But I do hope that, like, I am still authentically myself and that I carry that value of commitment to the community, commitment to my culture, of showing up authentically as myself. And, like, I feel like this is part of the reason that I got let go from my corporate position. But one of my things was that, like, I felt very tokenized as the Latina and the person of color representing the group, right? Yeah. And so anytime there was a presentation with a majority minority staff or demographic, I was the person they sent, whether they spoke Spanish or not. Right. And so I would be, like, in Sacramento presenting to majority Asian, Mandarin, Chinese teachers. And here comes this Mexican girl trying to connect with them, or the same, like, in Compton with Black communities, or, you know, everywhere. Right. and I did that nationally. But I think that really proved to myself that, like, my identity and who I am culturally is deeply important to me. Yeah. And there's something to be said about, like, having that intern Jamal to, like, double check you on, like, are you culturally appropriating? Are you, like, being white savior about things? Are you, like, how is this impacting the community you're trying to reach? Yes, that's important, but not to the point where it gets taken advantage of. And I hope I never lose that. I don't think I will, but I really hope I don't get blinded by, like, the profits and start compromising on, like, my selectivity with who I allow to be my client, right? Because I am selective. If a client does not align politically, ethically, culturally, or they're actively working against my people, I choose not to work with that person. So I hope I never lose that, for sure. And I think the thing I'll be the most proud of a year from now, I mean, I'm doing big girl things. Like, yes. I'm hiring a CPA. I'm getting financial coaching now, which is a huge step for me. I've had, transparently, a very negative relationship with finances my entire life.
Same.
Yeah. And those are things that I'm, like, actively working towards repairing. I feel like I've been on the trajectory of that, but, like, it's really come to a head with being a business owner. And I want to do things right. And so I hope a year from now I'll look back and realize, like, the value in that investment, not just in, like, the CPA, right? But I'm truly investing in myself and my personal and professional growth. And I hope I'm still, like, deeply proud of the amount of effort and work it takes to run not just a business, but a bakery business. I think that's something, like, I'm very lucky to where I have really good friends who will come over and they'll either, like, parallel play with me, or they'll body double with me, or they'll straight up just come over and help me with my packaging or help me bake. Like, if I have pre-made dough, whatever, they'll, like, scoop out like cookies and stuff for me. And they see how time consuming the amount of work it is, because it's not just like, I'm not just baking and selling it cute. I also have to do the packaging. I also have to do the branding. I have to do all of the marketing. I have to do all of the bookkeeping for it. I have to make sure that my venue and vendor partnerships are aligning and still holding strong. Emails, client relationship building, you know, invoice sending, all of those things, CRM tracking. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. And I am at the point where like I've realized like I need help. I can't do it by myself anymore. And I realized that a while ago, but I'm finally at the place where I can actively look out and accept that help. And compensate people accordingly.
Yes.
Right? Which is a great feeling because I don't believe in working for exposure. I don't believe in working for free. Tradesies among vendors is always fun. Yeah. Love a good trade, but it has to be proximal to the value. Even exchange value wise. So yeah, I think that's my hope.
I like what you said about you have to make sure that, you know, a client aligns to your values.
Yes.
And same goes for the people that you align yourself with when going into events or bigger events that you've been doing or parties. And I have seen that too, because I see just the types of people that host events with you, and it just, I don't know, I'm proud of it.
Thank you
as a friend, you know. I'm proud to see that it's all people looking out for each other.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that too, because I think like when you're in the community, we have like that mutual appreciation for each other. And like projects that I've done, like contractually, it's mutual promotion. Yes. And like anything mentioned about that project, you have to include everybody that was involved in that. That's like contracted. Like, and I will come for you if you breach that contract, right? Because that's something that's
also a small business owner. Yeah. And so if you're all hosting an event, it just makes sense that hey, we're all cross promoting each other.
Yes. And it's just like, I feel like it's not even necessary to have that in the contract, but for protection, yes. But I feel like in this industry, like those who I have been able to form close vendor relationships with, I also consider friends. Yeah. And we are constantly mutually promoting each other, mutually bringing opportunities to one another. And it's really refreshing to hear somebody from an outside perspective recognize that as well. Because I think we do it and others think we do it. But to hear from you that you recognize that we do it is really nice too.
Yeah. Where do you feel the most like yourself?
Good question. You know what's funny is like, I feel like it's like when I'm presenting something. I used to present at conferences for EdTech spaces. So that's what I did for 2 years. I worked in sales, kind of like a consulting role, but really content specific. And then that led into like working for learning and development and then onboarding and like internal learning and development as well. So we had client-facing learning and development and then internal. And I felt incredibly fulfilled by, yes, I was able to like bring something forth, like a valuable solution to a problem that people were having. But I think the spaces where I felt like the most connected and the most like myself was when like I could connect with somebody because their experience resonated with me. And like there were many a time, not one, not twice, multiple times that I would like cry in a presentation. These are sales presentations.
Yeah.
Okay, so like to cry in a sales presentation, that's weird, but I felt so safe and so myself and so respected when I was able to do that in that space, because obviously it was mutual, it was reciprocal, and they could experience my level of passion and care for something. And I talked about vulnerability earlier when it comes to children, but just I feel like I've tried to implement that in every aspect of my life, where like I've cried in an interview and still made it to the next round. Yeah. Because that showed my passion. I've cried during a cake decorating workshop. No, maybe not. No, I don't think so. But you know, I haven't cried, but I feel like that's something where like where I'm performing, where I'm presenting. I've presented at a conference with 5,000 participants. Like they all came to my session, right? Like that's a big deal. Yeah. And I feel like that's where I feel most like myself, because like I am in a position where I'm leading something that's meaningful to me, and I get to display my passion for it and like hopefully inspire others. And I think part of that too is like my commitment to getting feedback, my commitment to growth. Like anything that I do, I want feedback, and I want to grow, and I want to be better the next time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's helped me too, to feel like more me when I am presenting anything. It can be anything, but I'm naturally a performer. I was in dance growing up, ballet, folklorico. I was in choir. I played violin in orchestra. I played the piano. Always have held leadership positions in clubs and organizations. It's just very natural for me. So I like that kind of like, not that it's like the limelight, but it's like spotlighting my passion, but in support of others.
Yeah. No. And I love that. And you do shine whenever you are, you know, in service of others. But I've been to both events, one cake decorating and one of the events that you hosted with Casa Alejandra, which we haven't mentioned.
Yes.
But that's something else that you've been working on. And you just know how to control a room. And I think that comes from, you know, all of your background that we've touched upon. And I do see, you know, I do get it, how you'd feel the most like yourself there. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Wait.
Okay. I am doing this tiny segment called Tell Me Your Favorite Taylor Swift Song, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Oh my gosh.
So
wait.
You knew you were coming into my house. You gotta be Taylor Swift prepared.
Do you know what? I'm gonna give you a throwback.
Okay.
Mary's song.
Oh, Mary's song. That's
like old school Taylor Swift. I'm not so much like a new age Swiftie. I'm like, I was 15 years old, loving Taylor Swift, dressed up as Taylor Swift for celebrity dress up day in high school. Like she was my first like concert without my parents that I went to. I came to Austin. My sister and I went, and like that was a Fearless, or was it Speak Now or Fearless? I think it was Fearless. Yeah, I was 17 and I went to her concert, and like that song, like I don't know that it's like a super well-known song anymore.
And that's a Swiftie pick.
That's
I love
like
that.
very Swiftie.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like essence of Taylor before the blow up.
And that's like the songwriting too, of like, you know, beginning to end. Okay.
Yes.
I love that. And you're not totally wrong. Well, you're not wrong at all, actually. You know,
tell me why I'm wrong.
I know. Well, that's why I wanted to start this segment, just thinking of like, you know, people are just gonna say like the basic, you know, famous ones. But I did come prepared to tell you which one I think.
Okay.
And I think you are a Dorothea to me.
You know what? I have no idea.
No?
I haven't heard it. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, listen to it, and that's like from me to you. You know, you're one of my Dorotheas.
Am I gonna cry? Maybe.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Whenever it came out, like I just listened to it, and I was like, okay. And one of my best friends was like, oh my god, this one is so good. I was like, oh, I don't know. You might. Okay. It might hit. Do you know Noah Khan? No. Okay. Never mind. I was gonna say it's kind of like All My Love. Okay. Similar to that.
Okay. I'm gonna listen to it in the car.
Yes. Do it. Okay. What else do I have for you? I don't know. Do you think you've missed something that you want to share about your life story, about what makes you?
No, I feel like I shared more this time than I did last time.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
Last time we were just figuring it out.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't touch upon was dating, which like I'm totally okay with that.
So how are you going into dating in your 30s as opposed to
in my 20s?
Yeah.
I'll start off by saying this, that like I didn't date until I was 23.
Okay.
I was a very late bloomer in that realm. Looking back, I can very clearly see that I had crushes, and people had crushes on me, and they waited till I was 25 to like come out and say it. Boys, what the hell's happening here? We could have been living a happy like a ass life. Like, we could have been living a happy life. Yeah. Some of them were mutual. Yeah. And we tried it in our 20s. The majority of time it didn't work.
Yeah.
But at that point, like, we're very different people, right? But like, had we tried it then when we were young, it would have been awesome, right? To try. I think I was intimidated by dating. First of all, I wasn't allowed to date. I had a genuine fear of just like men in general.
Cooties.
No, not cooties. Just like a very rational fear of men.
Exactly.
That I might still have a little bit to this day. Yeah.
You know,
and like it's healthy to have a little bit of fear around men. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was ready in that space, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough. So then I didn't start dating till I was 23, and when I was I'm like that girl that from the age 5, I had a little shoebox under my bed with cutouts from magazines of like, this is what my wedding's gonna be like, and this is gonna be my little dog. I had like a little white Barbie dog that was like, this is my dream dog, and like I had my whole entire life planned out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like be married by 24 and start having kids by 25, and then I got to 23 and I was like, okay, like
gotta hurry up.
No, not even. I like started dating this guy. It was not a good relationship, and very much like I dated for marriage in the past, and I, according to my timeline, according to my calculations, I should have been married by 28. Married and had kids by 28.
Yeah.
And my God, am I so glad that didn't happen. Right? Yeah. Like I could have been married and divorced twice already, y'all, with kids.
Yeah.
That's insanity. I'm so glad it did not happen. And I think now in my 30s, and transparently, like in my 30s, I haven't really dated much until more recently. Like seriously dated. But I'm kind of approaching it from a lens of curiosity. Like,
as you should.
Yeah. Yeah. I went on this like really incredible date with this guy who it didn't click at all.
Yeah.
But it was incredible because I approached it from that lens of curiosity. And I just found his psychology, like his brain functioning so devastatingly interesting that I like literally, and people judge me when I say this, but I wanted to slice his head open and examine
just understand everything.
And if he watches this at some point, he'll know it's him. But
you're still in contact?
No, absolutely not. But we apparently run in similar circles.
Okay.
Very interesting. But this person, like, we did not align. We aligned like ethically and morally, but the way he moved was very much assimilation heavy and not authentically. Right? And so it was very inauthentic, but I got up to go to the restroom and we were like having such a deep conversation because I prompted it. Right? And I got up and I went to the restroom and I told him, like, you just gave me so many thoughts. I need to go to the restroom and think about this. And I went to the restroom and I thought about it. And I was like, really, like,
what an interesting
squatting and peeing and like really thinking about things like, wow, like I wonder this, I wonder that. I went back to the table and he was like shocked that I went back. And we had another hour-long conversation, called it a night. He called me my Uber. He paid for dinner and we said, bye. Have a great day. It was nice meeting you. Peace out. Never saw that man ever again. But that's kind of like really set the foundation for like just the way I've been moving in life lately. It's like I'm genuinely approaching it from curiosity. Also with dating, like I don't want the input of other people porque si like ando de volada and then I get excited and then I like do things for the sake of doing things, or like I tell people in my life and they get excited for me and then before you know it I'm in like another pointless relationship. And like that just has not served me, and I've worked really hard in therapy to like trust my intuition, and I want to honor that. So that's kind of my approach with dating right now.
I feel like you should. I don't know, for a long time I feel like I was just like performing on you know, the first date because you want to put your like best foot forward and be impressive and be, you know, dateable. And then it's like, did I even care about the other person? Probably not.
That's interesting that you say that because I'll say this much. Last night I went on a date and we had that exact same conversation. That like they were like, does this like meet your standards? And I was like, my standard is for you to be authentically yourself. And I think a lot of men specifically in this aspect fall into the trap of, I want to impress this girl, so I'm going to take her to 5-star restaurants for the first 5 dates. Right? I'm going to take her on and that's not who they are. It's not genuinely who they are, and it's not something that's sustainable. Like the point of dating is to see who you are authentically, right? So if that's authentic to him, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like 5-star whatever, but it was fine. My whole thing, and also this was not the original plan for the date. Our date got rained out. Okay? So I just like his genuine effort, his care, all those things like spoke way more to me, all the other things that he's doing than that. And I'm like, if this is genuinely you, I don't want you to fabricate somebody.
Yeah.
Like I want you to be yourself, right? That was very different from how I moved in my 20s too.
Yeah.
I accepted shit for a long time, and then I felt like upset about it, and then I didn't accept anything less than like 4 or 5-star dinners and lavish things, and then that still didn't work out, and I'm like, wait, that's not even authentically me. Like I love la vida fina, but I can also like hit up a taqueria and like down some taquitos with a jarritos, and I'm happy, right? And so there's like healthy balance and just being like authentically yourself in that.
No, and I agree. And I think we've talked about this too, because for me, it's always just like, we got to meet in person. I'm not a texter. I'm not a, because you were saying that maybe you'd like to do some like virtual dates. And I was like, no.
Well, it's so interesting because like, I think I still do. When we talked last time, I was talking to this guy that I made on a dating app. And I was talking about like how eager he was to like meet in person, but he doesn't even live here.
Yeah.
And I said like, what I need from him, and maybe this was him specific, right? But what I need is somebody who understands my busy lifestyle.
Yeah.
No day looks the same. My schedule's drastically different from day to day. This is a weird day where I get to be off and like come talk to you, and I still have like other things that have come up on my calendar as of 20 minutes before we started recording, right? It's so weird from day to day, and I need somebody who can meet me there. So if that means like we're doing FaceTime dates while I'm dating, or you come over and help me with packaging or whatever, like that's what I need. Somebody who's supportive in that way. And like, it is not a realistic expectation for me to be traveling somewhere. And if that's not your vibe, for you to be traveling to me, say that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also just about matching.
Absolutely.
Because like,
well, that guy, we didn't match.
Yeah,
so
no, exactly. And
fine.
Also, relationships are about compromise, right? But then again, in the first couple of dates, you're like, well, that, an hour travel is not something that I want, to even like consider before getting started. So
definitely not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
¿Qué más?
Okay. What is your favorite book?
Oh, yes. We talked about this. My biased opinion still. The Laboratory Assistant by Natalia Loya. Selfish plug. She's my cousin. She just launched her book. And Casa Alejandra. That's my secondary side to Bubbles and Buttercream. I do couture event planning and couture cakes for things like weddings. I guess I could say like professional milestones and things like that. But like, think very couture, guys, like high-end things, right? Like, this is not like a birthday party thing.
Yeah.
Like high-end, right? If it's a high-end birthday party, give me a ring, right? But she just published her book, The Laboratory Assistant. It released on June 2nd, and we had the launch party June 6th, and that was a lot of fun. So go read that. And then my other favorite book is The Chaperone by Laura Moriarty. And we talked about this, but it's like such a good book based in the 20s of a girl in Kansas who like wants to go be a flapper. And she essentially has a chaperone who goes with her. I'm not going to spoil the end, but it is such a good read. And I'm very much like a history nerd. I love like, I don't like period pieces in TV shows, but I love like a good like historic fiction read. It's a lot of fun.
I'll definitely add it. I have some Moriarty somewhere in here. What was her first name?
Laura
Moriarty. Yeah.
You're off.
I've thrifted some.
Look at this beautiful library, guys. It's gorgeous.
I know. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So for my last question, is, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh. Did you ask me this last time? I don't know. You did?
Maybe.
I don't remember what I said.
I don't think so, maybe.
But let me answer authentically.
Yes.
How do I want to be remembered? I hope people remember me as like being very loving and caring. 1. 2, being like very genuine and authentic and like unapologetic for it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I don't apologize, because I do. I admit my faults, but like I am who I am. I am who I am. And that's just, I don't think you should apologize for being yourself. If you're not someone's cup of tea, keep it pushing, right? But is there personal growth we can do in that? Yes. But I think I've done the work and I'm still improving every day, but I am authentically myself. And I hope people also remember like my passion for things and just like how fun loving I was. I think people take life too seriously. As somebody who has coped and overcome like anxiety disorder for the majority, I mean, still bouts here and there, but I think we take life too seriously sometimes. And I remember I would like panic about like little things that were like super out of my control. And I had to learn to find the fun in things and like have fun in the chaos and the unknown and just like enjoy the experience of uncovering that. So yeah, those are my hopes.
Like that. Yeah. All right, any last words? Where can they find you?
Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Bubbles and Buttercream, on Instagram at Casa Alejandra, and with an X, ALEXANDRA .events, Casa Alejandra .events. And yeah, book a party, send me an email. You can find it on my link tree, and follow Maritza on all the accounts.
Maritza.
Maritza, or Chats with Maritz for short.
That's a main one.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming a second time.
Yes.
And I figured out all the technical aspects. And
you guys talk about growth.
I know.
No, and it's been so fast.
I know. You're the only one that has seen like how I started with the camera only recording for 5 minutes and me not realizing.
We all start somewhere though. For real.
I edited the whole episode, and then literally as I was about to export, or it just corrupted. So hopefully, I'm grateful that you came back, and this was a lot better too.
I think so too. We needed the
especially
practice.
Me, I was more polished this time around.
Bueno, until I mentioned hot dogs.
Well, I don't know if they'll know about that, but I think I'll share it.
That could be like a short outtake.
Yeah. Alrighty. See ya.
Bye.
That's the one that you were singing.
On the mic is a queen. Now listen to me sing. Hey, what's a number 3 supersized onion rings?
Ready to be back?
He come out of the house with no ankle bracelet on, but he got 2 streaks, so don't get his order wrong.
Can I have your number?
You got a ponytail?
The back of your head is ridiculous.
It's so funny.
Like, he got money.
He do. But how can you not have that reaction
Quinta.
when a man's like, popcorn, candy, Slurpees, a slice of pizza, a hot take?
Yeah.
Hot dogs are made disgustingly, but I love a hot dog.
Oh.
I love a hot. There's a TikTok video of me at an Austin FC game for my friend's birthday. I posted it myself, so it's fine, but go like it. And I'm dancing with hot dogs because we got access to the Lexus Lounge, and they have like free food and stuff there. So we like took like a bunch of hot dogs, and I had hot dogs in my purse, and I'm like dancing with hot dogs at one point at the DJ booth. Have you seen that one?
I have not, but I am happy for you. That sounds like an enriching experience.
Cut that out. never felt so judged about hot dogs before.
Oh my god, I'm hot now. I'd be like, why is she suddenly?
Why did I bring up the movie theater? That's why from home with me. The skits, the hot dogs.
I don't know.
Bueno.
Oh my god. Okay. Ready? And scene.
Güey, hasta lloraste.
No, I'm okay.
Oh my god. Okay, shh, ya no me veas.
Oh my god, I have abs now.
Workout hot take, come hang out with us. You'll be
cool.
swole.
I was like, I'm happy for you.
I've never felt so judged.
Wow. You learn something new every day. Oh my god, okay. Okay, we gotta get back.
Okay. I've never felt more judged in my life. Bueno, ya pasó.